Have you ever sat at your desk, coffee half drunk, inbox full, deadlines looming, and quietly thought to yourself, is this what work is supposed to feel like? It's not burnout exactly. You're functioning. You're showing up. You're getting through the tasks. But something inside you feels heavy. Like every day is just another loop of noise and movement and never-ending urgency. You're not alone. In fact, millions of people are living like this, working harder, longer, faster, and yet feeling emptier with every passing week. We're buried in emails, swamped in meetings, surrounded by digital pings and paper piles, and somehow, we've confused all this chaos with productivity. But deep down there's a part of us that knows, there must be another way. A way to work that doesn't feel like losing yourself. A way to be successful that doesn't come at the cost of peace. A way to build a professional life that, instead of draining you, actually gives you something back. And that's where this book comes in. Joy at Work is not a book about time management or how to do more with less. It's a book about clearing space, mentally, physically, emotionally, so you can finally reconnect with what matters. It's about trading chaos for clarity, and busyness for meaning. At its heart, this book asks one powerful question. What would it look like if work could feel like joy again? Not fake, forced happiness. Not shallow positivity, but real joy. The kind that comes from alignment, from focus, from doing what matters with people who matter in a way that honors who you are. That's not just possible, it's deeply necessary. And this book is your invitation to begin. To understand joy at work, we need to first meet the two voices behind it, two experts from different worlds who came together to change how we think about work. First, there's Marie Kondo, the tidying expert whose name has become synonymous with the phrase spark joy. She became famous for helping people declutter their homes, their closets, and even their relationships. But what many people don't realize is that her work is far more than organizing. It's about transformation. Marie's philosophy isn't just about keeping your space clean. It's about living with intention. She believes that everything you own, and everything you do, should support the life you actually want to live. And in this book, she brings that same clarity into the world of work. Then comes Scott Sonenshein, a respected organizational psychologist and business professor. Scott has spent years studying how people work, what motivates them, and why so many professionals feel unfulfilled even in jobs that look good on paper. His research has shown that the most successful people aren't necessarily those with the most tools or resources, but those who make the most of what they already have. Together, Marie and Scott blend simplicity with science. Marie brings the emotional wisdom. What sparks joy? What can we let go of? Scott brings the workplace realism. What systems help us thrive? What habits keep us stuck? And the result is a deeply practical, surprisingly soulful guide for anyone who wants to reclaim not just their productivity, but their peace. Because joy at work isn't a myth. It's a practice. And it begins with awareness. When we hear the word tidying, we often picture drawers, folders, or messy desks. But the most important clutter we carry can't be seen at all. It lives in our minds. And this is where the journey to joy truly begins. Mental clutter is subtle. It hides inside our thoughts, our worries, our guilt, our assumptions. It's the voice that tells you you're behind, even when you're doing your best. It's the pressure to answer every email within minutes. It's the belief that you need to do more, be more, prove more, constantly. This kind of mental mess drains your energy before the day even begins. Marie encourages us to start by asking, what am I mentally carrying that no longer serves me? Do I still need to worry about that project from 6 months ago? Do I need to keep saying yes to things out of guilt? Do I really have to be available 24/7 to be valued? Scott adds to this by explaining how cognitive overload reduces performance. When our brains are crowded with tasks, unspoken fears, and emotional noise, we make poorer decisions, and we burn out faster. So what's the solution? It begins with a pause. Take 10 minutes. Close your laptop. Silence your phone. Now list everything that's been swirling in your head, not just tasks but mental loops. Then one by one ask, does this thought help me become the person I want to be at work? Is this belief rooted in truth or in fear? The more clutter you clear mentally, the more energy you reclaim. And that's the foundation for everything else. Because a calm mind is a powerful mind. And joy begins in silence. Let's shift our attention from the mind to the space around you. Your desk, your files, your work bag, even the corners of your desktop screen. What do they say about you? Because whether you notice it or not, your environment is always speaking. It affects your posture, your focus, your emotions, even your self-worth. Marie Kondo teaches that a cluttered space leads to a cluttered mind, and in the workplace, this clutter quietly chips away at your energy and clarity. You walk into your office and your desk is buried under old reports, post-it notes, cables, unread books, receipts. You sit down and, before you even begin working, you feel a low hum of stress, discomfort, friction. And here's the thing, you've normalized it. But clutter isn't just stuff. Clutter is anything that stands between you and the work you were meant to do. That unused notepad? It whispers, "You're behind." That pile of papers? It reminds you of what you haven't finished. That stack of unread books? It says, "You're not doing enough." Every object becomes a quiet weight. So, Marie suggests a radical yet healing idea. Clear everything off your workspace. Yes, everything. Then one by one, touch each item and ask, "Do I need this? Do I use this often? Does this spark clarity or does it add confusion?" Let go of the extras, the broken pens, the outdated folders, the stack of things you've been avoiding. Only keep what supports the kind of work life you want to live. Give each item a home, not a temporary spot. A home. What? Because when something has a place, you no longer need to think about it. Your energy is preserved for what matters most. Scott adds that this isn't just about aesthetics, it's about cognitive clarity. In tidy spaces, people work faster, focus better, and feel more in control. That sense of control creates confidence. And confidence creates joy. Your environment is a tool. Use it wisely. Because when your space feels clear, your thoughts follow. Now that your mind and space are lighter, let's talk about something far more valuable. Your time. There's a strange cultural myth that says the busier you are, the more important you must be. But Marie and Scott flip this idea completely on its head. Because busyness is not a sign of success. It's often a symptom of disorganization, or fear, or guilt, or a lack of clarity about what truly matters. So let me ask you something. If I looked at your calendar last week, would I see your values? Would I see rest, focus, creativity, boundaries? Or would I see chaos? Meetings stacked on meetings, endless to-dos, no breathing room, no recovery time. Scott calls this time clutter, and it's just as real as the mess on your desk. The solution isn't to do more, it's to do less, with more intention. Start by reviewing a typical week. Highlight the activities that give you energy. Cross out the ones that drain you. Now ask, what can I delegate or delete? What would happen if I said no to this? Am I scheduling recovery the way I schedule performance? Marie teaches that, just like objects, time should be honored. And sometimes the most productive thing you can do is protect an hour of silence. Or take a walk. Or do absolutely nothing, and not feel guilty about it. Because your value isn't measured by exhaustion. It's measured by impact, by clarity, by how much of yourself you actually bring to your work. And you can't bring your best if your time is constantly being stolen. So start guarding it, gently, fiercely, intentionally. Your peace is worth it. We've all had that one person at work. The colleague whose presence drains the room. The boss who micromanages. The coworker who offloads their chaos onto your schedule. But here's the hard truth. You can't tidy your mind or space if you're constantly absorbing other people's mess. Marie and Scott say it plainly, people can be cluttered too. Not in a cruel or dismissive way, but in the sense that certain interactions cost you more than they give. And many of us, in the name of politeness or professionalism, allow these dynamics to continue far too long. Maybe you're the person who always says yes. The one who picks up the slack. The one who never sets boundaries, because you're afraid of disappointing others. But while you're pleasing everyone else, you're slowly abandoning yourself. That's where emotional clutter begins. Marie encourages us to gently observe how we feel around others. Do you feel respected? Energized? Or do you leave every interaction feeling a little smaller? Scott reminds us that workplace health isn't just about tasks. It's about relationships. Boundaries don't mean you're being cold. They mean you're being clear. And clarity is one of the deepest forms of kindness. You can still be generous, helpful, collaborative, without sacrificing your well-being. Start small. Protect your deep work hours. Say no when needed, with grace, not guilt. And most importantly, allow yourself to outgrow relationships that no longer serve your growth. Because joy doesn't grow in resentment. It grows in respect. And you deserve that, from others, and from yourself. You might not see it. You might not hear it. But digital clutter is just as heavy as physical clutter. And in today's world, it's often heavier, because it never stops. Emails, Slack messages, pings, alerts, unread notifications, half-finished documents, 47 open tabs, forgotten folders, cloud storage full of files you'll never open again. Your laptop may be sleek, but your digital world is likely suffocating you in silence. Marie and Scott shine a light on something most of us ignore. Every digital distraction has a cost. Each ping pulls your attention. Each tab fractures your focus. Each chaotic inbox creates a tiny drop of stress, until you're flooded and don't know why. Let's talk about the inbox. How many times a day do you check it? 10? 20? More? Scott shares research showing that constantly switching tasks, especially to check email or messages, drastically reduces both efficiency and satisfaction. You feel busy, but you're not actually progressing. And worse, your mind never gets a break. So what's the answer? Marie suggests treating your digital life the same way you treat a cluttered drawer. Start by tidying intentionally. Unsubscribe from newsletters you never read. Archive old emails, don't let them hang over you. Create a simple folder system, not a maze of micro-categories. Choose 2 or 3 set times a day to check email, and avoid it outside those windows. Scott calls this boundary-based attention. It's not about doing less. It's about doing what matters without constant interruption. Try this. Close all tabs except one. Silence notifications for 1 hour. Set a timer and focus on a single task. You'll feel the difference almost instantly. And here's the truth. Digital calm leads to emotional calm. When your digital environment is clean, your mind has room to breathe. And in that space, joy quietly returns. Let's go deeper now. You've decluttered your mind, your space, your time, your relationships, and your digital life. But what if, even after all that, something still feels hollow? That's when you know, the final piece isn't about doing less. It's about connecting more deeply to what you're doing. Because joy doesn't come from organizing your life perfectly. It comes from feeling like your work means something. And that's where Scott's insights shine. In his research, he found that the happiest and most fulfilled people at work weren't the ones with the best titles or highest salaries. They were the ones who understood why they were working. Not just for money. Not just for achievement. But for meaning. So ask yourself, what is the impact I want my work to have? Who am I serving? What kind of legacy do I want to leave, even in the smallest actions? Marie encourages us to look at purpose the same way we look at joy. Hold a task in your awareness and ask, does this spark something deeper in me? Does it align with who I am becoming? You don't need to save the world. Sometimes your purpose is in how you listen during a meeting, or how you help a colleague feel seen, or how you write an email with warmth instead of haste. Purpose is everywhere, if you look for it. And when you find it, joy becomes more than a fleeting feeling. It becomes your foundation. So much of what we've explored, tidying space, managing time, clarifying purpose, is powerful. But none of it lasts if you don't protect it. That's why Marie and Scott emphasize something often overlooked in the workplace. Ritual. Not rigid routines. Not long checklists. But simple, gentle rituals that anchor you in what matters. Because even when you've created clarity, life has a way of pulling you back into noise. The clutter creeps in. The pings return. The pressure builds again. And without something to bring you back to yourself, you can lose the calm you worked so hard to find. Marie suggests beginning and ending each workday with intention. It might be as small as clearing your desk before you log off, writing your top 3 tasks for the next day, saying thank you to yourself or someone else, taking one deep breath before you open your inbox. These small acts signal to your brain, I'm choosing how I show up. Scott explains that rituals create psychological closure. When we transition with intention, into work or out of it, we feel more present, more in control, and less reactive. He also recommends a weekly joy audit. Set aside 15 minutes. Ask yourself, what felt aligned this week? Where did I slip back into old patterns? Or what do I want to shift next week? This is your maintenance, your check-in, your quiet return to intention. Because joy isn't just created once, it's sustained little by the choices you make daily. And those rituals? They're not about perfection. They're about presence. There's one last truth you need to hear. Joy doesn't just stay with you. It spreads. When you tidy your space, others feel inspired. When you set boundaries, others feel safe to do the same. When you show up with clarity, calm, and kindness, it changes the room. Marie and Scott both remind us that workplace culture isn't built by policy. It's built by people, by behavior, by values and action, by the small ways we choose to work and relate, day after day. You don't need a leadership title to shift culture. You just need to start showing up differently. Question why every meeting exists. Celebrate clarity, not just busyness. Protect deep work time, and honor others' time too. Model respect, not reactivity. Create space, emotionally, digitally, physically, for others to feel safe. This is how a culture of joy begins. One person, one desk, one choice at a time. And when that culture takes root, everything changes. Not just productivity, but trust, creativity, humanity. Work stops being survival and becomes something you're actually proud to be part of. Let's return to the beginning. You came here with a question, maybe unspoken, maybe quiet. Can work feel like something more than pressure and routine? And now you know, it can. Through every page of Joy at Work, Marie and Scott have offered more than advice. They've offered permission to clear the noise, to let go of what drains you, to organize your energy around what truly matters, to stop chasing busy and start choosing clarity. Because real productivity doesn't look frantic. It looks peaceful. And real joy doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what matters, with a clear heart in a clear space with clear intention. So as you close this audiobook summary, don't just remember the steps. Remember the feeling of lightness, of relief, of hope. You don't have to change everything today. Just one drawer, 1 hour, one belief, one boundary. And when you do, you'll feel it. That quiet shift, that return to self, that first spark of joy at work. So let's take a gentle breath and look back at what we've uncovered together. We began with a simple but powerful question. What if work could feel like joy again? And step by step, we walked through the deeper layers of that answer. We learned that the joy begins in the mind. When you clear mental clutter, you reclaim your focus, your calm, and your confidence. Your environment shapes your energy. A clear space supports clear thoughts and reminds you that you deserve peace, not pressure. Time is sacred. Being busy doesn't mean you're being effective. It's what you choose to do and why that truly matters. People affect your clarity. Setting boundaries, protecting your energy, and surrounding yourself with respect is part of the work. Digital clutter is real, and it silently drains you. Tidying your devices gives your mind space to breathe again. Purpose is everything. Even small tasks feel different when you're connected to a bigger why. Rituals keep you grounded. You don't need perfection, just consistent moments to return to yourself. Culture is contagious. Your clarity and joy can ripple outward and change the energy of your team, your environment, your entire workplace. And finally, we were reminded that you don't have to wait to find joy. You can begin now, with one small shift, one brave boundary, one kind decision to honor your energy. Because joy isn't just a feeling, it's a way of being. To everyone who listened all the way through, thank you. Thank you for choosing this time for yourself. Thank you for being willing to pause, reflect, and explore what your work could become. And most of all, thank you for being part of a world that believes that peace is possible, that clarity is powerful, and that joy, even at work, is not a luxury, but a right. I hope this audiobook gave you something deeper than tips. I hope it gave you perspective, permission, a quiet spark. Until next time, keep choosing what matters. And remember, the clearer your space, the quieter your mind, the deeper your joy. Take care.